Hi guys, I've made some plasticard barricades, so let's have a look at how I did it and what they look like. Right, so here we have them. I've put some orcs in there just to give you a sort of idea of scale more than anything. They're pretty well. They look pretty well next to the miniatures. Now I made them while I was on holiday, so I didn't have any miniatures to hand. So I was a little unsure as to whether I'd made them too tall or not. But as you can see, that's... Oh, try again. That's basically how tall they are, so they fit really, really well. Now, you can probably tell they are basically all styrene. Now, I was working with what I took with me, which was basically just a knife, some styrene sheet, the rod, the hex rod for these bolts, and some polycement. That's basically all I had. Now I would normally use H-beams, proper H-beams that you can buy for these parts here. However, I didn't have any, so I started off by just basically cutting out shapes for the bottom. I made some H-beams or I-beams out of some styrene sheet, 0.5 styrene sheet, as you can see there. Glued it together. I wasn't trying to be neat because I knew I was going to be making something that was very makeshift, barricade wise, more for the orcs and Gorkamorka side of things than the Dark Eldar. So it seemed to fit quite well. So I glued the 3 bits down, so that basically it was just a flat piece of polystyrene with 3 beams sticking out. I did the same for these 2 over here. And then I just chopped up lots of bits of the different styrene that I got and started layering it in front. As you can see, I've sort of stuck that piece between those 2, and then that bit on an angle, and this one between the front of that one and the back of that one, and this across the front. And that all makes up this really nice sort of orky barricade structure. Leaving bits tall because it doesn't need to be neat at all. This one here has got a big bit sticking out the top there. Now I need to rough up the edges and make them look properly worn, and I also need to put a bit of the old basing on the bottom there. I tried to get some that were on a fair bit of an angle, but I'm really happy with the way these came out. They surprised me for something that I was just going to do in a couple of hours while sort of sitting in a caravan in the middle of nowhere. Well, I say middle of nowhere, it was next to the beach. But that's besides the point. I was really happy with the way these came out. Now, I'm probably going to treat these as a prototype, so I can sort of build them up from here. Now I'm getting a box of miscasts of all sorts of stuff, engines, guns, all sorts of gubbins, wheels, that sort of thing, which I'm hoping to do a second set of these, but instead of it just being the I-beams and a load of plating and some bolts, there's going to be gubbins lying around the bottom as well, sort of half buried in the snow, half buried in the sand, and looking really cool. Sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away with sticking that guy on there. So that was it basically. I just wanted to show you what I'd made. They've been received really well on social media. If you haven't or aren't following me on social media, then the links are in the descriptions. They're also at the end of the video, so yeah, hit me up on there. I tend to, if I've made something I'm really quite chuffed with, I tend to post it up on there before I make a video usually, so you get a little bit of a sneak peek as to what I'm doing. Speaking of which, there they are. There's the social media stuff. Yeah, so I am really chuffed with the way these came out, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into doing some terrain building and working on some scatter terrain as opposed to big pieces like the fort. Although saying that, the fort is going to need some more work. There's the windmill that I never finished, and the crane as well that I didn't paint up. The windmill I am really happy with. I think that came out awesome. So there'll definitely be some videos on that, and then hopefully when we get some more Gorkamorka games going, it'll all look much nicer instead of having those white tank traps. These fellas on the table, they'll be painted up as well, so they'll look the piece, or the part rather. Okay, I've rambled on far too long. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.